My apologies for the podcast being late today. I had to take a passenger to the airport, Hollywood Burbank. 70 miles round trip, only 3 hours to make it. You know, they say people are moving out of California. I'm not seeing it. They said 1.5 million have left. You know, do another 5 million. I mean, our slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom's really good about chasing people out of the state. He's not working hard enough, as far as I'm concerned. Raise some taxes, would you, slumlord, for crying out loud. Well, the good news is it's Wednesday. The bad news is it's Wednesday. But here's some exciting news. From Hollywood, it's the world-famous Mojo Elliott with another action-packed adventure of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Unedited, unfiltered, and always uninhibited. Now, if you haven't heard yet, the Atlantic magazine released a statement saying that the information they received from the signal was not war plans, as the Democrats accused the Trump administration of doing. Again, lying scumbags. Well, here's the deal with the Atlantic that you really need to grasp a hold of. The Democrats have used this rag for years to plant hit pieces against Republicans. You know, the deal is you plant the hits piece, national media picks it up and spreads it nationwide. And that's what they did. Democrats, trying to find a crack in the Trump administration, said, okay, let's attack. And they all had the same message, didn't they? Everybody you heard had the same damn message. Yeah, but this has been going on for decades, where they use the Atlantic to do their hit pieces. But here's what I think really happened. I think they had a Democratic operative who got access to the signal, sabotaged the contact list by putting a name that looked familiar, but they put a different phone number in that went to Jeffrey Goldberg at the Atlantic. Now, two things here. There's definitely an enemy within that they need to flush out, because they're going to keep doing it. Mike Waltz, the new U.S. National Secretary Advisor, should have confirmed every single one of those numbers in Signal before he sent any communication out. That's why you have assistants, for crying out loud. So, made a mistake. No harm, no foul. Everything went off as planned with the mission. And finally, the Atlantic came out today and said, well, no, it wasn't war plans. But see, here's what happens. It gets out there. Everybody's talking about it. Now, a lot of people believe it was war plans, and all of a sudden, oh, by the way, it wasn't. Nobody's going to hear the admission. Now, what I would do, I would start sending out bogus information to people I suspected who might have sent something like this out to flush them out. And eventually, you'll find them. Eventually, you'll catch them. Going to be very interesting. I love the espionage, though. Love the espionage. All right, you're probably aware of the Tesla takedown that's planned for this Saturday. Now, I've been picking up this stuff on social media and different news outlets, or I guess people are planning to show up and defend Tesla dealerships and do bodily harm to people caught vandalizing innocent people's Teslas. A word of warning, if you're going to participate in this to do damage to a Tesla or Tesla dealerships, I don't think you're going to go unchecked this time around. I think you're going to have people showing up to provide opposition when you go to destroy a dealership or cars. I could be wrong, but it seems like that's the undercurrent that's happening right now. All right, how many times have you watched the movie Roadhouse? 89, there's also a version done in 2024. Roadhouse 89, a cult classic with Sam Elliott, Patrick Swayze. Manly men seem to really love this movie. I personally watched it 15, 20 times. If it's on and I hit it, I will stop and watch it. Roadhouse 2024 with Jake Gyllenhaal and Irish boxer Conor McGregor had 80 million viewers, so Amazon decided to announce yesterday, we've got a sequel in the works with Jake Gyllenhaal. Roadhouse 2, but it'll actually be a third one. But you know what? You're going to have to save up your hate, gentlemen, because it's not going to come out till 2026 probably. But save up your hate. Personally, I have room for all of the Roadhouse movies for different reasons. Granted, the first one, the original, you'll never top it. Never top it. But the action in Roadhouse 2024 is pretty damn good. You have to admit it. Because most people say they didn't like it. What didn't you like about it? I just didn't like it. That means they liked it, and they just don't want to admit it. But the best line in Roadhouse 89 was when Wade Garrett rides up to the Double Deuce on his Harley, pulls back his hair, looks up at the sign, and says, "The Double Douche." Love that movie. Travis McKenna, who was a bouncer in the movie, used to come on the radio show with us. Good guy. Just kind of disappeared off the planet, though. Speaking of radio, Fleabag and I were going through some old emails, and it was amazing to me how many people have questions about the radio business. I mean, to me, I don't think people really listen to the radio anymore. But they're curious about what it was like working in the business at the time that I did, I guess. So let me just say that I loved every frickin' thing about it. I was consumed by it. It was nothing for me to work 18-hour days, 16, 8 hours. No problem. There were times when I, honest to God, thought I was the Cal Ripken of radio. Cal worked, he played 2,632 games for the Baltimore Orioles in his heyday. And I thought, wow, what an Iron Man. If he can do it, I can suck it up and go to work every single day. And there was a 7-year stretch where I worked 7 days a week. And it never bothered me because I was doing something that I loved. And the business was extremely good to me. It really was. And when I started, FM was just coming into its own. And any of you who have worked in the radio business might remember this. If you came from the AM side and you went to FM, it was like a golden ticket. It was like you moved up to the major leagues. You'd walk around like going, yep, I want a 50,000 watt FM in Pittsburgh. I'm the cock of the walk, baby. Cock of the walk. And all the AM guys are like, gee, I'd love to be on FM radio. So I was there at the beginning of all of that. And I kind of was there towards the end when everybody's talking about AI, going digital. And that's when I left in 2022 because of all the changes. But when I sit back and I think about it, God, it was the debauchery when I first started that got me hooked. God, I love the debauchery. Thrived on it. And when I think about it, I basically got paid to screw with people. That's pretty much it. I got paid to talk about somebody else's music. I talked about what everybody else was doing. Sure, I got to insert my personal experiences and all of it, but when you think about it, it was just a ridiculous way to get paid to make a living. You look at the experience and education that doctors and lawyers have to go through, CEOs, bankers, to become an accountant, salespeople in every field of sales, policemen, firemen, factory workers, city workers, military personnel. Those people worked hard for their education and their money. All I did was talk about, here's Led Zeppelin for you, baby. That was it. And yeah, for me, it was Animal House on the radio. That was always the motto. Crazy, debauchery. And then in the mid-90s, corporations started buying radio stations and sucking all the frickin' fun out of it. And I had to do Animal House Light, basically. But, I still loved it. But I got paid for literally being unemployed my entire career. Really. I created nothing of my own, nothing to speak of my own. But the business was damn good to me. And it's no wonder the marketing and sales departments in every radio station I worked at hated the programming talent because if we came, we talked, we left, and we got paid. We didn't have to work hard. Then that's probably why it was easy to do 16, 18-hour days some days. Yeah. All right, let's play some head trauma. Today's round is the screen test. This is nothing more than a showbiz quiz for you today. We're going to keep it light. All right, in the sitcom Seinfeld, Kramer kept his first name secret until season 6, when he finally told us, or somebody let the cat out of the bag, that his name was Cosmo. Who let the cat out of the bag? Do you know? Think about it, and I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast. All right, who's ready for some loose behavior? Here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed, where the conversation does continue between podcasts, by the way. Demented Dave posted this one. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? For me, I don't want to be remembered for a damn thing, but some people do. Bobby Sock said, my boobs. Not mine, hers. She said they are perfect 36Ds, nicely shaped nipples surrounded by just enough areola. Kind of sounds like a menu at a dinner. Menu special. Yes, tonight we'll be serving 36Ds with nicely shaped nipples surrounded by just enough areola. All right, guys, you need a moment to compose yourself. All right, take your time. Jim Kaufman said, I make a wicked spaghetti sauce with red wine that will blow any jarred marinara sauce on the shelf out of the water. Mr. Wonderful, are you reading this? Jim, you're talking about Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank, obviously. Just mail him a jar. 1313 Mockingbird Lane, Hollywood, California, 90068. All right, Candy said, I have no hair anywhere on my body. It's considered to be alopecia, but it's sexy. And I photograph well. Let's show the world what it looks like. That's what she wants to be remembered for. God, too bad the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus doesn't exist anymore. You know, I'd pay a quarter to see that. All right, let's get into today's Celebrity Cheese. Do you like garbage? Not as in trash, the band. They're back. They've been away for a decade touring, but they're going to kick one off this summer. It's called the Happy Ending Tour. Shirley Manson and the original band are all intact. So you're getting the whole shittery, the whole shish kebab. Now, if you'll give me a second to pat myself on the back, because in 1998, when Garbage released the song Special, I was one of the first programmers in America to play it. So here, I'm going to pat myself on the back on that one. But I did interview Shirley. She was a couple of feet from me in my studio. Very interesting interview. You know, I would say that out of all the people that I interviewed on the female side, she really had a certain it factor about her. She was like the perfect mix of hot and strange. I mean, you wanted to hit on her, but you knew if you did, she'd probably remove your manhood if you tried. All right? But Garbage is back. Tickets go on sale April 4th. Ben Affleck opened up about his divorce with Jennifer Lopez and said, you know, it was really about two people trying to figure their lives out. And I'm like, really? Ben is in his early 50s, J-Lo mid-50s. I'm thinking, man, if you haven't figured out your lives yet, stay the hell away from another relationship because you got to be a toxic mess, man. All right, remember Jason Kelce, Travis's big brother? He announced he's entering stupid competition in order to lose weight and keep his sanity. And I'm calling bullshit on this one. You know, when you go on stupid competition, you're desperate to stay in the limelight. I'm losing my relativity. I've got to do something to stay in the news. And it's been nice not talking about the Kelceys for a couple of months, hasn't it? All right, Kristen Cavallari, who has a podcast, you know, Kristen from Laguna Beach fame. Yeah, who knew that she had a podcast? But anyway, on a recent episode, she invited her 8th grade boyfriend, Johnny, to talk about how he deflowered her. And apparently it was a tender, loving moment in her life, which is nice. Very nice. And you know, guys, women never forget their first. And you know right now that they generally compare you with the first. Every single one. How does he compare with my first? Okay, that's where it all starts and ends. But what I find suspect about this, though, is she admitted that she gave him the questions that she was going to ask, number one. But B, no last name. Who is Johnny? She didn't give his last name. So I'm saying, is it real? Because if I'm Johnny, I want my name all over this. I'm the guy that deflowered Kristen Cavallari. I'm the cherry poppin' daddy. But we just know him as Johnny. So I'm questioning, is it real? I guess who gives a rat's ass, right? All right, the wait is over. Here comes the Rat's Ass Podcast email from our Gmail. This is where you email your questions, comments, and observations to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I respond to them here on the show. No topic is off the table whatsoever, and the more outrageous and salacious, the better. I do not read them in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. All right? Let me crack my knuckles there. Here we go. All right, Bertie K. from Calabasas, California. Not too far from the Elliott Estate. Study results on your blog talk about how uncircumcised men are an average of 1 to 2 inches bigger than a man who is circumcised. This is 100% true based on my experience with both. But here's the other thing. I can have incredible orgasms with uncircumcised men and cannot with circumcised ones from penetration. Very interesting indeed. What if this is true? Ladies, chime in on this. Is it true? Uncircumcised, bigger, better than the circumcised? ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. We'll do our own internal research on this. And Fleabag, take this down. This is a idea. We'll put this up on Rat Nation at some point. Let's create the Rat's Ass Podcast uncircumcised t-shirt. Picture this. It's a black t-shirt and big white lettering that says uncircumcised. Now make it red lettering so it stands out. Maybe yellow. We'll look at them all. But uncircumcised across the front. You walk around like that, man, because if this word gets out to the masses, you're going to be overflowing with asses, don't you think? All right, Tim Z from Kirkland, Washington said, what are your top 3 debut rock albums of all time? Tim, if I had a quarter for every time somebody asked me this question, I'd have lots of quarters. So I have kind of a canned answer for you here. Led Zeppelin, Boston, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Yeah, I know it feels like 87 for Appetite, and there hasn't been something better as a debut album since then. A lot of good albums, but God, it's really hard to top those 3. Led Zeppelin, Boston, Guns N' Roses for me. All right, Donnie B. from Ogden, Utah says, Mojo, this is really difficult for me. Really hot chick just moved into my apartment building, and I'm horrible at meeting new women. I need an open. Got one. Apartment building? Laundry room, man. You gotta do RentCon on this. You gotta find out when she goes and does laundry, and you're just kind of there. There's no more boring place than a frickin' laundry room. So you're alone, you strike up conversation. It's just an easy conversation. Oh, you use Tide. I prefer all. And that's where it starts. And before you know it, she's dropping by to cook and clean for you, watch a movie, a little who's your daddy. So you got to do the RentCon on this. The laundry room is always pretty good. Megan D. from Grand Island, Nebraska says, you'll love this one. I'm in the middle of a divorce, and I banged my husband's lawyer to mess with him. Oh, God. After he found out, because I told him, he fired the lawyer, and that's what I was going for. I just had to tell someone, and I picked you. My lucky day. Thank God that leprechaun I picked up and have in my closet is working for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. The information on that, Megan D. I want to hear where this goes later, though. Keep me informed. All right, Diego X, Valencia, Spain. God, you women are wicked. You can be wicked. Wicked. Diego, Valencia, Spain. Are American women trustworthy? You just heard Megan. What do you think? But you know what? I don't think it has anything to do with American. I think women are the species they are. And it's whatever you do and how you treat them is how much you can trust them. I really do. That's what I believe. Elke C. from Frankfurt, Germany. If I were to visit Los Angeles, where's the best place to meet men? Well, let's see. It's been a long time since I went searching for men like never. You know what? I read this not too long ago in LA Magazine. Let's see. I have it here somewhere. I got so much stuff. Yeah, here it is. Hang on. Let me just look it up for you. LA Magazine, best place. Yeah, I have the top 10 list of where to meet men. I'm not going to do the whole 10, but I'll do 3. It says here the Penthouse in Santa Monica is pretty good. The Well in Hollywood and Nubu in Malibu. I'm familiar with Nubu. And if you're looking for money, that's the place. Nothing but Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bentley. That's, you're not going to show up with anything less than that at that restaurant. You're like, yeah, I'll pass on that one. I'll go somewhere else. But good luck, and you're welcome for that information. If you have any observations, comments, or questions, send them to ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. All right, here's your head trauma answer. We're doing the screen test today. It's nothing more than a showbiz quiz. All right, in the sitcom Seinfeld, Kramer kept his first name secret until season 6, when we found out his name was Cosmo. So who let the cat out of the bag? If you guessed Kramer's mother, Babs, you are correct, Amundo. It was Babs' mother. And then she hooked up with Newman, remember? Newman getting a little MILF action there. All right, if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, I got to go have hair reduction surgery today, so I got to go, but I do have one more thing for you. Did you know cannabis can double a woman's chance of having a mind-blowing orgasm? I don't know about that. I mean, we heard the same nonsense about cocaine in the 80s, which actually turned out to be true. You know, you put a little dab on the Twizzler and boom, boom shakalaka. She was headed to the moon. All right, let's do a few shout-outs to our social media contingent. On TikTok, Marty Gale, National Eddie, Kim Kashkari. On X, Cadillac Jack, Ricardo Murray, and Carla Marti. On Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky, Rita Williams, Seth Bloomberg, and Kat Billings. Thanks for listening to the Rat's Ass Podcast. All right, that's it for this episode. Be sure to check out the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials, listen to podcasts, join Rat Nation, and read the blog. We got all new articles up there, plus the Dumbass Award so far, too. We'll do this again on Friday. Get you ready for the weekend on March 28th. Take care of each other. And thanks for dropping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.